We spend so much of our lives trying to figure people out. But what if we've been looking at all the wrong signs this whole time? Well, this right here, this is a field guide for judging character, one that's designed to cut right through all that surface level stuff we usually get stuck on. Okay, let's start with this quote from author Robert Greene because it is powerful. It basically flips everything we think we know on its head. The idea is that the really dangerous people, they aren't the loud, aggressive ones. Nope. They're the ones hiding behind a really pleasant mask, the ones whose real self only comes out when the pressure is on. And that's really the core of the problem, isn't it? We're all natural actors. We're great at putting on a polished, confident face for the world. And that's exactly why it's so easy to get fooled by that initial charm or intelligence. We see the performance and we think, wow, that's who they are. But it's just a mask. So how do we get a peek behind that mask? Well, the first and most important tool in our kit is what we'll call the criticism test. According to Greene, this is the number one thing. Nothing, and I mean nothing, reveals a weak character faster than how they handle even a little bit of feedback. So what does a weak character look like when you put them to the test? It's a total, complete inability to take criticism. And we've all seen this person, right? The coworker who just gets instantly defensive over a tiny mistake. They put up this defensive shell, they start pointing fingers at everybody else, and they refuse to take an ounce of responsibility. I mean, look at the difference here. The two paths could not be more clear. The weak response is all about deflection, and eventually they'll use you as a shield. They'll let you take the fall just to protect their own fragile ego. But a strong response, that's the person who says, you know what, my bad, I'm to blame. They actually take it in, they learn from it, they get better. Now that's the person you want in your corner. Okay, so if a little bit of criticism can start to crack the facade, what happens when you apply some real stress? That brings us to our next tool, character under pressure. Think of this as the ultimate litmus test, because pressure is what makes that mask just completely fall apart. So here's how it goes down. A weak person, they can keep it together when things are calm and easy. That's step one. The mask is on, everything's great, but then a crisis hits. Step two, a project goes south, a deadline gets blown. And that leads right to step three, the collapse. The mask just shatters, and what's underneath? Impatience, fragility. They just completely unravel. They can't handle the weight of the moment. On the flip side, a person with strong character, they actually thrive in these moments. When everyone else is cracking under the pressure, they become the calm in the storm. Their internal foundation is just solid, so all the chaos on the outside doesn't shake them. They're the anchor. All right, now this next part, this might be the most counterintuitive piece of the whole puzzle. We've seen how weak characters react to direct challenges like criticism and pressure, but some of the biggest red flags are actually hiding in plain sight, disguised as something we think is a good thing. We're always taught that being a people pleaser is, a virtue, but this idea turns that completely around. Extreme people pleasing, that's not about kindness. It's actually a defensive strategy, and it comes from a place of deep insecurity. These people are so terrified of conflict that they need your constant approval just to feel okay. It all ties back to the criticism test, right? If your self-worth is built on what other people think, of course you can't handle any negative feedback. And the crazy thing is, you can often spot this weakness before they even say a word. Just watch their body language. An insecure person often has this tight, nervous posture. They're constantly touching their face or their hair. And when you're talking to them, they'll avoid eye contact, or their eyes will be darting around the room. Their body is basically screaming about how uncomfortable they are on the inside. But a truly powerful person, a person with a strong character, they have this relaxed, directed focus. Their posture is open, they look you right in the eye, not to be intimidating, but to actually connect. That physical calmness you see is a direct reflection of their internal strength. All right, let's pull all these threads together. We've gone through the tests, the signs, the red flags. Now it's time to boil this all down into your final takeaway, so you can go out there and start judging what really, truly matters. So, this is it. This is your field guide. When it comes to criticism, are they defensive and blaming, or are they accountable and willing to improve? Under stress, do they collapse and get fragile, or do they stay calm and focused? And that niceness, is it just people-pleasing coming from a place of insecurity, or is it genuine kindness that comes from a place of real strength? And this is why this whole framework is so powerful. Because most people, they never look past the mask. They get completely distracted by the shiny stuff on the surface, the charm, the confidence, the intelligence, and they totally miss the one thing that will actually determine the quality of that relationship, their character. So here's the fundamental shift you have to make. Stop judging people by how they act when life is easy. I mean, honestly, anyone can look good when things are going their way. It means almost nothing. Instead, start judging them by how they act when life gets real. Because that is where the truth is. That's when the mask finally comes off, and that is where you see someone's true character. So I'll just leave you with this one last thought. As you go about your week, start looking at the people around you through this new lens. Who in your life has truly passed these tests? And maybe more importantly, who hasn't? The answer, well, the answer might just change everything for you.